This might well be another motorized game. Infantry equipment +2, light attack, soft attack, defense, tactical bomber, defense attack, air attack, strategic bombing, light cruisers. I like this. This is the first time I've seen a company doing things outside of, like, its category. Like, I don't have much interest in the light tank bonuses, but the tactical bombers and the light cruisers? What about naval? Air attack, agility, and range. That sounds like it would be very useful. Defense, max speed, and reliability. Less so. Strategic bombing, ground attack, and range. Or reliability for the strategic bombers. Plus 15% armor. Plus 15% anti-air. Max speed. These are like my favourite bonuses for ships. Cockatoo Island. Those are crazy ships. I'll forget those. I think we're going to go for probably the government aircraft factories and rebuild Cockatoo Island. These companies are good. I'm glad to say that Australasia has very interesting companies. Military factory, civilian factory, radar station, the other stuff, refineries and the other stuff. Probably that one, just because I like to get those factories up and running. Hey, Tanko. Had to leave around the time pass for the first time. Not much, considering it's the 1st of February, 36. And those light tanks are decent, but these medium tanks are much better. And then the hardness for the motorized and mechanized, and also the max speed. I mean, the max speed will matter less, actually, with the medium tanks. I think we'll probably go Holden Ford Australia. So maybe I'm not going to go mass assault. I think I might actually go mobile. Okay. Decision made. We're going mobile. Investments in the Empire. The delegate from the West Indies Federation spoke today about the need for investing in the various dominions, stressing that the British dominions need a strong economy in order to take Great Britain back from the anarchistic traitors that took control of the country. Yeah, Empire needs investments, obviously. Profits from the legation cities. Following the 1926 German intervention in China, the Treaty of Nanjing, signed in November of that year, foreign trade was left to the richest cities on the coast, under the joint control of the world powers owning interests in China. The independence of the consortium of cities was guaranteed by the 8 powers: Australasia, Austria, Canada, Germany, Japan, the French Republic, Russia, and the USA. Foreign investments and the legation cities themselves flourish, not only through foreign trade, but also thanks to the smuggling into the Allgemeine Ostasian Gesellschaft and the Qing Imperial territories. Over a decade later, our investment in the legation cities is still paying us dividends. So we would have the opportunity to modify our government right now. Oh, I can't change my conscription laws. I'm sorely tempted to start with this one. Yes, it's a good idea to mobilize early. But it's actually infrastructure I'm building right now. And this gives me the industrial tech research time early on while I'm still doing the industrial techs. I'm going to do that. Empire's research. The final speaker of the day, our delegate from Australasia, stands up and speaks on the need for scientific investment. The economy also needs modern science in order to keep up pace and not stagnate, while the military needs the most modern weapons to take back India and the home islands. Research investment for the Empire. National focus completed. State of the economy. Okay, so we now have an opportunity to go down one of these paths. These are just mutually exclusive with each other. So, economy liberalised means that market liberals like us more. Social conservatives or social democrats. So the market liberals, consumer goods factories down, resources to market up. Replace economic depression with recovering. Is that always going to be the same? Yes, those are always the same. And then this one is privatization efforts, which gives production efficiency cap +10, factory output +10, construction speed +5. So privatizing could be good. And then reforming the bureaucracy, more daily political power, more stability. Stability in its current form is kind of rubbish. Oh. Build slots. Unlocks decision, develop coal, aluminium and iron. So this gives us more resources. This gives us build slots. Then this just gives us some free infrastructure. It seems completely meh in comparison to urban expansion. So we're going to privatise. Social conservatives can grow. Almost all of the publicly owned companies are doing poorly, suffering from mismanagement and even corruption. Rather than revise their practices, perhaps it's best to put them back in the hands of the private sector, where they can be run by proper businessmen, rather than the bureaucrats. Oh wait, are they all available? Oh, it requires one of the following, so we can do all of them. Okay, never mind. In which case, I think I'm still going to go with this one, because the construction speed bonus would be nice. Yeah, and resources to market is completely irrelevant. Political power gain is nice, but stability is irrelevant, so we're still going to privatise. Cool. Black Monday on the 3rd of February of 1936. The Berlin Stock Exchange stopped sinking, it plunged. Fueled by the instability of the market panic, selling erupted as soon as the stock market opened on Monday morning. It took well into the night for the teleprinters to stop spluttering out the results of what became known as Black Monday. When the results had been analysed, it was clear that the situation had only gotten worse. The shock of the unprecedented economic catastrophe will no doubt be felt across the entire world. The German Golden Age has ended, at least for now. The Imperial Conference of 1936 is now over. With it over, we can now focus on working on putting into practice the decisions that came about at the conference. There is hope that perhaps the conference marked a dawn of a new era for the Dominions and the strengthening of bonds, but only time will tell. Alright, so we're at war. Sorelians have been elected in France. There's that fight, but it's always over so quickly that there's not really any point our attending. I think I might just stop you training, because I don't think you've gained any experience since you began. Actually, to be fair, I have not had this unpaused much. So we'll keep training. We'll see if anything actually happens. Oh, we made peace. Pius XI is dead. A special conference for the Labour Party. Today, the Australasian Labour Party convened a special session in Sydney where the former Premier of New South Wales, Jack Lang, was readmitted into the party after having been excluded for 5 years. Lang originally left the party and formed his own due to disagreements with the leadership. After his dismissal from the government by the contemporary Governor of New South Wales, Philip Game, he fell out of popularity and sought to rejoin the party. A powerful orator and a populist through and through, the readmittance of Lang has caused consternation amongst the more leftist members of the Labour Party, who, alongside the majority of the trade union activists, see him more as a social feudalist, inherently hostile to the true socialist doctrine. It seems that the Australasian Labour Party is heading into a turbulent time, given the imminent election. As if Afghanistan ever won. No, they never do. I do wish that there was a little bit more to that war, but there isn't. Right, am I actually gaining any experience? Because I don't feel like I am. No, we're not. Australasian Guard. Originally formed in 1925, the Australasian Guard is a staunchly nationalistic and jingoistic movement, which traces its roots back to the paramilitary organisation, the League of National Security, composed of former servicemen returning from the Welsh Creek, who helped put down the 1923 Melbourne Commune. In the years following the Melbourne uprising, the Guard has continued to support the government, with many supporters joining the expanded security forces available to the Governor-General and assisting in suppressing left-wing activities. The coming return to a democratic rule has caused an upset amongst the far right, however, who fear the re-emergence of the long-suppressed Labour movement, that the Nationalist Party, divided as it is, will be unable to maintain the status quo. Due to these factors, the Guard leader Eric Campbell has decided that it will take part in the elections as the Centre Party. Despite their not inconsiderable levels of popular support, at present it's unsure what impact they will have. So our stability goes down and down and down. That's the Saudi war. Could you play as Afghanistan and win? I feel like it's just a scripted ending. Nothing really happens. That there isn't ever time for anything to happen. Downfall and stability. The Australasian Confederation continues to deteriorate. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. So does Black Monday just not hit us because we're already in a depression? I guess so. So we recover quicker than Germany. The first free elections in over a decade, which many are calling Bruce's election, looks set to return to the majority of the United Australia Party. However, the Labour and Country parties are campaigning vigorously, while the Nationalists struggle to retain their core vote, with the left voting UAP and the right declaring for the Guard Centre Party. Many are, at least, grateful that Campbell's Centre Party seemingly has no chance of actually winning, though it seems like they'll make a good showing. So we have the Country Party. Let's just go over here so we can have a look at all of this. So we have the Country Party, who are market liberal, which I guess are the Democratic Australia. We have the Labour Party, which is Democratic Socialists, or Social Democrats, which is also Democratic, or the United Australasia Party, which are Social Conservatives. So it's always Democratic Australasia. Afghanistan takes some land if they get to Delhi. That's the only they can win. Okay. I'm not going to go Labour. I mean, between the market liberals and the Social Democrats... Oh no, and the... In fact, all of them I don't really care. You give an awful lot of reduction to base stability, and you give a positive stability. So the United Australia Party, I think, is who is in charge right now. Oh, we have no ministers. So Stanley Bruce. Civilian construction. I do like those. Or Earl Page. Stability and war support, completely rubbish. Or Curtin. Daily political power and resource gain efficiency. I mean, Curtin and Bruce are decent choices. Bruce, I think, is actually the stronger one. Then the foreign minister, Percy C. Spender. Oh, yeah. I wish he were the economy minister. Percy C. Spender is an economy minister. Especially if he was Labour. That would be hilarious. I mean, actually, these are kind of irrelevant, so we'll ignore you. Eric J. Harrison for the Economic Minister. Harrison. Inventory equipment reduction and support equipment reduction. Or Lyons. Political power gain, construction speed, productivity cap. I'm really liking the look of the United Australia Party. And then Thorby for interior. Thorby. There you are. Local resources, manpower, and factories. I mean, he's decent. Dead man. Or is it Durham? No, it is actually Deadman. Where is Mr. Deadman? Political power gain, stability. Rubbish. Or Pierce. Stability, political power. Kind of irrelevant, but I'm definitely leaning United Australia here. This choice doesn't really matter a whole lot unless you go Labour. Curtin was a legend in real life. He literally worked himself to death during the war. Wow. Well, I'm going to go Bruce, just because I like the sound of that party and what their ministers can do. Political power is going to be an issue, because Bruce reduces it quite significantly, but we'll be fine. So we are democratic. So how do you not become democratic then? Like someone said, how do you become victory for the Guard? I would assume you have to go Labour, then if you go Labour then you have other problems, which will decide which of these three. Like if there's a uprising or something. So we can lift martial law, which will increase the social conservatives and give us more stability. We can question the unions, which means workers' organisation and trade union problem, and also political power. Or we can just get a big boost to political power. I think right now we just want to avoid those. Let's do the martial law so we can get the bonus to Social Conservatives. How much of the... Oh, wow. We're at 52%. That would then be 57%. And actually, if we did this, then we'd be over 60 and we would be on high party popularity. Ooh, that's actually really tempting. Yeah, we're going to lift martial law. Since the nation's formation, Australasia has in effect been under martial law. Now with democracy restored and power in the hands of Parliament, the government is in a position to restore civil liberties in Australasia. Or... Oh no, we can't actually, because we haven't actually finished our focus. That was just bypassing one. Never mind. Australasian Guard and the election. The Australasian Guard has emerged from the election far stronger than when it went in. Eric Campbell's Centre Party, while failing to take many parliamentary seats, did manage to secure a large percentage of the popular vote, mostly at the expense of the nationalists. Despite this, the lack of coherent strategy as well as a hostile media reception were clear hindrances. So authoritarian Democrats lose some, national populists gain some. Not particularly relevant. Pyro Soldier, thank you so much for that subscription there, buddy. I appreciate your support. Welcome to the Mordlings. That's a good use of your Twitch Prime sub there. So if anyone else has an Amazon Prime account, they can use their 1 free a month Twitch Prime thing to support a streamer. Doesn't cost you anything extra, and we get paid. It's actually a really good deal. You're basically charging Amazon twice. Well, you're charging Amazon for money. Right, average popularity. The civilian support of the ruling party has reached an average level. Syndicalist March. Responding to the election results, which the Labour movement claimed were rigged against their candidates, radical supporters of the Australasian Council of Trade Unions held an illegal march in several of Australia's cities today. They are protesting the continued suppression of unions. Several of the marches ended in clashes with both the police and local paramilitary groups. All of the marches were successfully dispersed, but the leaders have sworn that they will continue to resist the new government, and that without freedom the Australasian Confederation cannot truly call itself a democracy. My stability is just going to be tanked. William Birdwood's tenure as Governor-General saw a vast expansion in the powers available to the position, which he used to maintain order in Oceania at the expense of democracy and civil liberties. Birdwood, a British general from the Weltkrieg, was opposed upon Australasia by an empire fearful of revolt, but times have changed and the newly elected government would use this opportunity to replace him with a native Australasian. While this move would be popular with many, others have suggested that an opportunity exists to invite a member of the royal family to assume the role and thus put Australasia more firmly within the sphere of the empire and our fellow Entente allies. So, royal family, Dominion of Canada would really like that. Australasian one, Canada dislikes that. Or Birdwood should stay where he is. I'm actually going to invite a member of the royal family. Let's do that. Get the prince, the portrait's nice. Alright then. Here's Royal Highness Prince George. Wasn't George the next King of England in real life? Because it was George, then it was Edward. But Edward abdicated in favour of George, didn't he? Or is this a different George? I should know this stuff. Yes, it is. Okay. I do know this stuff. Oh, it's a different Prince George. Okay. King George VI was called Albert. George's real name was Albert. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think he looked like him. I thought it might have been, but whatever. First king died, second left, and George got the throne. Right, we are still losing political power every day, but hopefully when we get rid of the economic depression. So I think we might well want to continue down this path so that we can get rid of the depression. That's actually kind of more important than stabilizing the political stuff. So at this level, do we need all three? We do need all three of these, okay. Also, new railways, New South Wales, Victoria and Canberra. Both of you get 2 free infrastructure, so we don't want to build anymore. It's not Wrangle, who cares? Okay, so we have privatised that. I think we're going to grab the new railroads now so we can get that infrastructure and actually start building some factories. And then we'll probably do the urban expansion and then probably the wealth of the antipodes. been the least important. Expansion of the railroad system throughout the east will not only give our mining sectors a shot in the arm, but also provide much needed employment for a great number of people. So how much manpower am I still short? I really do wish that this gave more information. How much manpower is there still left to mobilise? How much manpower are we short? Two things that would be very nice to know there. Ion Idris, the Cattle King. Leading Australian writer Ion Idris today published his latest novel, The Cattle King. It follows the life of a recently deceased Sir Sidney Kidman, an entrepreneur and pastoralist who owned or co-owned large areas of land in Australia in his lifetime. Kidman became widely popular due to his support of the government in the Wild Creek and charitable organisations. The book looks set to be Australia's bestseller for 1936, and many are drawing parallels between Kidman and the exiled White Raja, Charles Vere Brooke, which is sure to boost Brooke's popularity. And I do have another technology, which is going to be mechanical computing. So we can go ahead and do that. Glorious. Mark Leake, Worthy. How many Georges have you had? We've had only 3. George, Washington, and the 2 Bushes. Well, if you compare that to the Louis in France, which got up to, what, the 16th? Yeah, there were like 16 Louis in France. I have a feeling there might be more. How many Louis ruled France? 18. 19 if you include Louis the 19th, who never actually ruled and abdicated. 20 if you include Louis Philippe, Duke of Orleans. No, I would say 18. Or the popes. Yeah, but the popes adopt names. I know there's another country where they've had like loads and loads of people with the same name. Scotland with Jameses? I have a feeling it's something silly there as well. List of Scottish monarchs, here we go. Let's just scroll down to the bottom. Oh, it's not as many as I thought. James the 7th. I mean, we had 8 Henrys in England. Right, so railways, urban expansion, antipodes, and then we need to choose which of these to go down. New trade deals will be sought in non-Entente countries or trade within the Entente. I think we're going to do it with the Entente. Because we're trying to stay good friends with the Dominion. And then we'll end the Depression, and life will be good again. Manoeuvres in the Carpathians, world is changing. Stuffs are happening. Basic machine tools. Okay, let's go and grab concentrated industry, because there is absolutely no point to have dispersed here. Railroads are done. So if we go to this map mode, then just these two need to stuff. So let's go ahead and start building some factories in Victoria. So once Victoria has been fully industrialized, or fully railroaded, we'll start putting stuff there. And this would be a very good opportunity to get the urban expansion. Australia's cities are already growing rapidly. Sorry, Australasia's cities are already growing rapidly. We must enact policies which will encourage the migration of people from the rural areas into the urban ones. If our industrial base is to grow, we need a steady source of workers to man the factories. And you're doing defensive garrison right now. Let's turn most of these off. You say you still need 18 men to do that. Yeah, it's not happening. Although your unit strength is definitely going up. And the cavalry is actually very nearly finished. Siam tuned turns constitutional monarchy. Cool. What is my total population? 8.7 million. Okay. Mosley elected chairman of the TUC. So Mr. Smug himself is going to be in charge of the Union of Britain this time. There he is. Oh, that's Portuguese. I was trying to work out who that was. Union Nazionalista achieves Italian majority. Is this the same guy? No. This is Mussolini. Fifth Congress of the Socialist Republic of Italy has ended with the Union Nazionalista of Italy led by Benito Mussolini achieving majority of the seats in government. Is he still wearing that magnificent hat? Yep. Cool. Our ideology is growing. Glorious. We are only 1% away. Construction 1. Right. I think that we do need to... Actually, I could totally go for construction 2 right now. And we would have it done really quickly. You know what? I'm going to spend my time and do that. We have the 50% ahead of time bonus. We may as well. An all totalist international would be a tough opponent. Tend to have the most industry. Yeah, that's true. Sweden's current one is Karl the 16th. But we've not had a Karl on the throne before. You must have. Unless... Yeah, you had like Carolus, which is basically just the Latin form of Karl, isn't it? Urban expansion, done. Cool, so we can now get the wealth of the antipodes, or we could do lift the martial law, which would put us over the edge, and we would have 60% party popularity, which would mean more political power. I'm going to do this. Since the nation's formation, Australia has been in effect under martial law. I'll grab you. Poland elects a new king. Ah, yeah, of course, it's the Charleses. Rather than the Karls. Probably does count those. Suggestion for possible land expansion once Indochina War starts. Would it be possible to take over Vietnam if they win? That's not a half bad suggestion. Because I was kind of looking towards Indonesia, but the Netherlands owns that, and I'd kind of like to keep them sweet. It would be even better if the Netherlands could join the Entente. Which... they can, actually. That would actually be really interesting, having a game where the Netherlands joins the Entente. Basically having to hold the line as a beachhead until reinforcements can arrive from very far abroad, but having huge naval stuff at your beck and call, and also huge colonies. Colonial holdings. Okay, so that was these done. Engineering is being done right now. Do we have any doctrine penalties? I don't think we do. No. So we probably should start researching a doctrine, which I think is going to have to be mobile warfare. If we're going to go medium tanks and mechanized. Workers can wear top hats too. Gustavus Adolphus is the only Swede I recognise. But what about Carolus Rex? Okay, so we are now building the factories in Victoria, which is going to increase the amount of other stuff I get built. Martial law is being done, but we do have the additional states here, so we're going to add some more factories. So we're going to get another 4 civilian factories here in Victoria. Or maybe what I should probably do is have 3 in Victoria, so it's essentially Victoria 3 here. And then we're going to lift the martial law. Wealth of the antipodes, let's do that. Australia and New Zealand both have massive untapped resources which need to be found and properly exploited. Ours is a dominion of mineral wealth which few other countries can hope to compare to. Or at least it could be. Wasn't Carolus the one that did the disastrous war against Russia? He nearly won it though. But yes, it was him. Stability and party popularity have gone up. We are now actually producing political power. No longer get the effects of privatization. Thank you! I was hoping if someone would notice that. Although I must admit I got tired of all the Victoria jokes at ParadoxCon. I can see why the developers are getting really quite ticked off with it. Although it was quite clear that Johan was enjoying baiting it with the teasers prior to the announcement of Imperial to Rome. Extraordinary enthusiasm is building for the Victorian Football League Grand Finals, with large numbers of people having been recorded attending the trainings for both the Collingwood Football Club and the South Melbourne Football Club. Despite the warm weather, the teams trained strenuously for the upcoming premiership on Saturday in the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Both sides are confident they can take the Grand Finals, but time will tell who will succeed. I noticed the joke, but was so disgusted I refused to acknowledge it. To be fair, that's also an entirely reasonable reaction. Second Russian Civil War. South Melbourne takes the premiership. Around 76,000 supporters witnessed an incredibly close game with the South Melbourne Football Club securing their 4th premiership. Despite the organisation and training in Collingwood, South Melbourne was able to see through the tricks laid out and avoided giving up unnecessary marks. South Melbourne consistently played a defence, but managed to score one last behind in the dying minutes of the game to secure a 1-point victory. One? Oh, it's Aussie rules. I was like, 1 point? You don't have points in football. Now I know why. Russian Civil War! Yay! I like these. I do wish that this happened more often. How are the Soviets looking this time around? That's a lot of divisions. I mean, the Russian Republic's civilian industry has the potential to dwarf that of Soviet Russia. They also have almost no manpower. But that's a lot of divisions. They could do a lot of damage with that.